The governor of Ohio at the time, Strickland, decided that this information was too important and we needed to do something. And so, under the leadership of Mr. Kudroy, a commission was formed by the state of Ohio to talk about this very important issue of human trafficking, to explore and to better understand what are the real issues that are taking place in Ohio. And for any of you that may be interested, there is an actual report, about 18 pages, which I can make available online for you in an electronic form, for you to review what this group and these committees have done in regards to human trafficking. This is very important because if you read on that slide, at least 6,316 Ohioans are at risk of being trafficked right now. And at least 1,800 are being trafficked today. And this is the result of an actual study that was conducted by the University of Toledo. So these are numbers that represent just the top of the problem. But there is definitely a very, very serious problem here in our state. In Columbus, Ohio, through the Central Ohio Rescue and Restore Coalition, these are some of the cases that they have been dealing with. Where a Latino woman, was trafficked and she was brought here from another state. Normally when they travel at night and they travel in vehicles where they cannot be looking outside. They don't know where they are, they don't know where they're going. When they arrived in the new city, they don't know which way they went, whether north or south or east. So they have no idea where they are. And this young woman was not from Ohio or anywhere near here. She was from the south and she ended up here. A lot of foreign national women also that are being assaulted and trafficked. And there's one case of a woman that was being actually trafficked by her own husband. But what about the victims? What is the impact that these people are suffering through? This is a real person. Take a minute. Explore her. Try to imagine what she went through. This is one of those phases that started at 12. By the time you make it to 21, 22, you have been in the business for 10 years. What happens to these victims? Needless to say, a lot of physical pain, a lot of unhealthy living situations, a lot of broken bones and fights, and of course rape. Serious, serious health problems. Many of these people are young children when they start being trafficked. So their growth suffers a stunt. They never really develop well. Many of them are malnourished. And a great number of them are hooked in drugs very early on. Because remember, that pimp needs to create a dependency. And it's very important for him to ensure that that person, that woman, that child is going to be coming back to him. And this is not only girls, this is also boys. And more importantly, there are the very serious psychological effects of sex trafficking. Trauma, and a lot of the self-destructive behaviors. And probably that is one of the hardest issues to deal with because they hate themselves, but they don't want to hate themselves. They hate the situation, they want to get away, but they don't know how. And then there's always that huge dependency with the pimp or the person that is controlling them. They say that these women suffer post-traumatic disease, stress disorder, at the same rate as that of combat veterans. Wow, can you imagine that? That sounds really intense. And to realize that the kind of stress that these people are going through is compared to that, that is something very deep. And I think that kind of gives us an idea and helps us grasp a little bit that anxiety. How do we identify them? Who are they? What are some of those signs? When I was taking my training class and I was told, when you go to a McDonald's, keep an eye open, and they were saying McDonald's just as an example, could be any fast food restaurant, but this lady said this: when you go to McDonald's, keep your eyes open. If you see a young girl or boy that is with another adult that does not appear to be family, check and see if they're the ones asking for the food order, or if this person is telling them what they're going to eat and he's asking them, and he doesn't want them to interact with the person that is taking the order. And if you see that they're trying to go to the bathroom and this man or woman is going to go and stand by the door, keep your eyes open, because you might be looking at some potential human trafficking. But there are a lot of signs out there that we are not trained to look for. Here are some of the things that you want to ask yourself. Are they scared? Do they have any marks in their bodies? Are they maybe someone that does not speak the language, and you see they're having difficulty? People don't speak our language, and it's hard for them to identify themselves, and they are kept isolated. And so whenever they are in a situation where they think they might be exposed, they appear very pleasant to the person that is accompanying them, because they don't want to raise any issues, or they don't want any of those flags to go up. And oftentimes, they don't want to be identified. Why? Going back to the beginning, they're afraid for their family, they're afraid for their friends, they're very much ashamed, and they don't know what their life would be like if they moved away from the protective custody of the pimp. So, what do? If you think there is something going on, maybe it's a person that you can actually approach or ask questions about. Where do you live? Can you come and go when you want? Where do you sleep? Where do you eat? I personally have met people that tell me they work for a Chinese restaurant and they sleep in the basement of the restaurant. That is not right. And they're paying rent. And they can only eat at the restaurant, and once a week they go to Walmart for an hour. And here are some clues about how do you communicate with the victims. It's going to be very hard for you to isolate a victim from the person that is with them. But the good thing is that there are professional organizations that are there, that are ready to help these victims, that have been trained and have not only the information, but the resources to help these people very slowly break through this bondage and the chains that are holding them back. They will not understand that they're victims of trafficking. And that is something that is very hard, because as I mentioned about these people that were working in the Chinese restaurant, they really thought they had it made. And one of them said, "This is so much better than where I lived in the village," but it is not right. So we need to understand and help them understand. What are some of the needs that trafficked persons have? Most important need is safety. And that is very crucial, because they will be really afraid. But my challenge to each one of you today is that you can be a change agent. I know this is a really hard topic. It's not something that we all enjoy confronting. I was one of them. Whenever I heard this, I was like, ugh, I don't want to hear about it. And the reality is that there are too many victims around us that are suffering from this, and we just cannot simply say, I don't want to hear about it. If this is something that is important to you, you may want to work and support the work of one of the many, many organizations, not only in this area, but statewide and nationally, that are trying to reach out to these individuals. Be supportive, be knowledgeable, and share what you're learning today with others, because we need to create this very, very large campaign to empower each other. Because the only way how we're going to stop human trafficking in our state and in our country is if every one of you takes a stand. Thank you.